Hello, everybody. My name is Genesis LeBoy, and I'm the current president of the UCF ACM SIGGRAPH student chapter located at the University of Central Florida in Orlando, Florida. We have now completed our first year as a student chapter, and I am very excited to share the results of that first year with you today. Okay. I'll be representing the chapter today, but here is a list of the other current officers for the upcoming academic year. The faculty advisor is Joanne Adams. The president is myself, Genesis LeBoy. The vice president is Carolina Rapp. The treasurer is Sabrina Diaz. The secretary is Joshua Ruiz. Okay, and here is a picture of some of our student members from our first event. Our chapter consists primarily of students from the animation department, but we're open to students of any other department to come and join us. We have approximately 20 members so far, and this represents students from both graduate and undergraduate degrees. Okay, so our first year, we've hosted 12 events, and we primarily focused on networking and professional development events for our students. We had a bit of a rocky start, as is typical of Florida. We had 2 hurricanes back to back in the fall semester, so we couldn't host events for about a month and a half. But we made up for it in November and December by hosting larger events where lots of people attended. In the spring semester, we spent a lot of time recruiting volunteers to generate interest in the new batch of students who had never heard of SIGGRAPH before. And although our department shuts down over summer, we remain highly active just because this is the time of year when people have the greatest availability to attend events. Okay. Some of the events held were strictly for networking purposes. We did a movie night where we screened animated shorts and, we ate food and discussed what we liked and what we didn't like from each film. We also participated in a creative mixer that was hosted by the WIA chapter of our university. Here, students got to interact with industry professionals, alumni, SIGGRAPH members, and other UCF organizations. Our department also has a lot of 2D artists, and because of this, we hosted sketch days at various locations across town. These events were fairly popular with the younger students, so now we're having sketch days as a regular bi-weekly event. Okay. Other events were focused more on professional development. This year, we invited some guest speakers to talk to our students about their experiences getting started in the animation industry. Then they reviewed the portfolios in a one-on-one style private discussion with each individual student. And this was my favorite event of the year since the invited speakers were UCF alumni who were classmates of mine in undergrad. And recently, we also had a seminar about the business side of freelancing so that students can see the other potential avenues for income post-graduation. And finally, next week, we're doing a software demo for Substance Painter and RenderMan. Here, we're going over the professional texturing workflows and, just getting the incoming junior class a head start on their next semester. Okay. Earlier in the year, we had an invited guest speaker from the Student Volunteer Subcommittee to come and talk to our students about the volunteer experience and why it's important. And from our recruitment efforts, we've managed to get 12 SVs and 2 TLs accepted. However, a number of our students had to decline the position afterwards due to any personal reasons. So we ended up with a total of 10 SVs and 1 TL that will be traveling to the 2023 conference later in the summer. Okay, and we learned a lot. Our animation department is very small, but it is very, very busy. And this means that we need to plan around department scheduled classes and capstone presentations in order to maximize our attendance. Another thing we learned is that virtual events are more convenient for people, which means attendance tends to be higher. However, it's not so good for community building. In-person events keep people engaged and socializing with each other, so the experience becomes a lot more memorable. Our plan for next year is to host more in-person events. Okay. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with our chapter.